Facts, not fear. The latest facts from the coronavirus outbreak here in Western Washington. We now have 21 cases in King County and 8 people have died. One of the people who died had underlying health conditions and actually passed away last Wednesday, but it's only now being tied to the coronavirus. That person was transferred to Harborview from Life Care Center in Kirkland. That's the nursing home that's been sort of the hub, if you will, of this outbreak. So 21 cases in King County. That's 7 more than yesterday. Several schools are closed. Some cities and counties have declared or plan to declare states of emergency today to free up resources and money to help contain the virus. New video this morning of Life Care Center in Kirkland. Of the 8 people who died, at least 4 were residents at the long-term care facility, a nursing home there on the east side. All but 1 had underlying health conditions, making them more vulnerable to the coronavirus. Dozens more people are awaiting test results. King 5's Callie Greenberg outside that nursing home where ambulances have been coming and going overnight.
For the past few days now, we've seen clusters of ambulances pull up and take patients away. In fact, 2 people were transported around 4 o'clock this morning. In a letter on the Life Care Center's website written by the executive director, it says if someone begins to show symptoms of the coronavirus, they need to be transported to a local hospital in order to be tested. They aren't doing testing inside of this facility. What we know so far is 9 cases. Half of the cases in Washington state that are confirmed have either been someone who lives or works inside of the Life Care Center here at Kirkland. That includes 4 of the 6 people who have passed away. Now, doctors are concerned that there may be more cases spreading among an already fragile population. Right now, we know a group of 18 students and 4 faculty from Lake Washington Institute of Technology visited the nursing home last week. We're learning now that they have been asked to quarantine themselves for the next 2 weeks. Some people are wondering, though, why didn't this quarantine happen sooner? Well, Dr. Amy Morrison is president of Lake Washington Tech. She said she didn't hear from the health department until Sunday, and then that decision wasn't made until yesterday.
Yes, I would have liked to have the information instantly, but this is a quickly evolving situation, and I do believe they're doing the best that they can.
In addition to those quarantines, Lake Washington Tech's campus will also be closed today. It was closed yesterday and today so they can disinfect the entire campus as a precautionary method. As for the Life Care Center here, again, they're going to continue to check for those symptoms of coronavirus. If someone shows symptoms, they are transported to a local hospital. The executive director's note said that they are following recommendations from the CDC. In Kirkland, Callie Greenberg, King 5 News.
Snohomish County will declare a state of emergency today after their health department confirmed 3 cases of coronavirus, including a teenager at Jackson High School in Mill Creek. Last night, leaders from various departments and cities around Western Washington met to talk about the impact that the outbreak is having and will have.
We might see closures, additional school closures, public facility closures, because it is necessary that we take those steps if there's a danger of infection for the public.
So we carried that discussion on our Facebook page, and it's still posted there. You can also find a link at king5.com. King County Executive Dow Constantine joined us in our studio this morning to talk about one of the unique ideas that they're doing in King County to slow the spread, buying a motel to allow people who are quarantined to recover there without taking up hospital beds.
It's a place that has exterior entrances to the rooms, and each room has its own HVAC system, so people can be there without infecting others. We're also setting up modular units in several locations, and these will allow us to have room for people who need to be isolated, who are recovering, and allow them to be away from their families and not infecting others.
The county has not specified where that motel is because it has to go through some legal hoops before they can release that information publicly. More schools are preparing for the worst. The North Shore School District canceling all classes today so staff can train for remote learning, teaching via computer. This morning, their superintendent joined us in studio and talked about the 3,000 kids who called out absent yesterday or sick, as staff and families have been increasingly anxious about the outbreak. Our Kiara El Fallon at the school district offices in Bothell.
The school district superintendent is very aware of how fast this virus has been spreading, and that is why she is preparing to make sure students can still learn if they do have to shut down schools. So just yesterday, one of the school district's elementary schools, Frank Love Elementary, was closed as a staff member with flu-like symptoms was tested for the coronavirus. The entire school was disinfected. Out of more than 23,000 students in the school district, about 7,000 called in sick yesterday. That's about 1 in 3 students. In a letter to families earlier this week, the superintendent said there are students and family members across the district who are concerned that they have been exposed to the virus. Now the superintendent is looking ahead as staff prepare to train to continue lessons remotely.
Our state superintendent said to prepare for a possible extended school closure. Our staff came in all weekend, teachers, our Teachers Association leadership, Tim Bertel, our cabinet, to plan training thoughtfully, right, and authentically for all staff in the district so we could bring a remote learning platform to scale for 23,500 students.
Last week, Bothell High School was also closed due to possible exposure to the coronavirus. A staff member at the high school had a family member fall sick after traveling internationally. That person tested negative for the coronavirus. Now, the school district is doing a district-wide disinfection on all school campuses just to make sure everything is clean and good to go. From Bothell, I'm Kiera Elfallen, King 5 News.
Thank you, Kiera. And in addition to the North Shore schools, we have 10 other schools that closed across our region: Eastside Prep in Kirkland, Kentwood High School once again in Covington Elementary in the South Plateau, Lake Washington Institute of Technology in Kirkland, Seventh-day Adventist in Kirkland, Grove Elementary and Early Learning Center both in Marysville, Mount View in Shelton, an elementary school there, Bellevue Children's Academy, and Willows Prep School in Redmond. They're all going to be closed all week, in fact.
They said they'll keep us updated. They're just waiting for results back to see if they have the coronavirus or if they just have flu or something.
And just that last school closed all week. One parent told us they think it's a wise move. Others have a different take. For instance, this parent whose child attends a school in Puyallup.
I think that it's a little bit going overboard because the healthiest individuals are our students and our kids.
The schools say that they need to close to allow time to disinfect the campuses properly and thoroughly. Meantime, Senator Patty Murray leading the national fight to get more federal funding to battle the coronavirus. This morning, speaking out at a Senate committee hearing on the outbreak, saying she is appalled at the Trump administration's response to this crisis.
The administration has had months to prepare for this, and it's unacceptable that people in my state and nationwide can't even get an answer as to whether or not they are infected. To put it simply, if someone at the White House or in this administration is actually in charge of responding to the coronavirus, it'd be news to anybody in my state.
Harsh words. The senator also said the administration needs to better explain to families what they need to know to stay safe and to minimize their risk of catching the virus. So the financial impact has been again negative today. Down almost 700 points is the Dow in response not only to the outbreak, but because the Federal Reserve made its first emergency rate cut since the 2008 recession, cutting interest rates by 0.5 percentage point. That was right when that green blip, it went positive for a little bit, but overall it's been another really down day for the Dow as it's now crossed under 26,000 points. Meantime, conflicting statements from the White House and the administration. The president says a coronavirus may be ready, quote, relatively soon, but his vice president, other public health experts are saying no, it won't be until a vaccine the end of this year or possibly 2021. President Trump could declare an infectious disease emergency that would make federal funds available to states, to local governments. Congress is also working on a measure that would provide another $8 billion in a bill that could be introduced as early as today. Meantime, the president is at the National Institutes of Health in Maryland with scientists and health professionals there speaking about the dangers of the coronavirus. Let's let's listen in right now, live with the president.
Labs to go ahead, get the test going, do your own test, make it available, and come to us for approval after the fact under emergency use authorization. That will make, as Commissioner Hahn has said, millions of tests per week available quite rapidly.
Mr. Secretary, can I ask you about the study from the CDC today that showed the Americans most at risk of contracting coronavirus are the ones with people living with patients. So should Americans be less worried about catching the virus from, say, people on the street or people in an airport?
So what we said at the press conference just yesterday is very consistent with that, which is for the average American in your daily life, the risk of getting the novel coronavirus is very low. But if you are around individuals who have the novel coronavirus, the risk obviously is higher. And that's why the efforts we're taking with the state of Washington and with Santa Clara County and elsewhere in the country are around what's called community mitigation, which is to isolate individuals who have the disease, as well as to reduce social contact to bring the level of disease spreading down.
Mr. President,
so we'll continue to monitor this news conference out at Maryland, but we have a special section at our website dedicated to the coronavirus. You can go to king5.com. It's very easy to find, but if you prefer, you can text the word to us, virus, and then we will text you back a direct link to all of our coverage.